Hello everyone. It's Nicole and
Miranda, thank you for joining us tonight.
yes, really nice that everyone is here. Anyways, Miranda, let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us your story about like what has brought you to yoga, how has yoga changed you, like your yoga journey.
Yeah, this is great. Basically, I started doing yoga in maybe 2018, and I just went to like one class and I didn't really get on with it. So that was my intro into it because it was like in London, it was like a full class, and I didn't really understand any of it or anything, and then I didn't go back for a while. And then and the reason I started in the first place was because I had like back pain, and I was just trying to change my lifestyle and stuff like that. And everyone was like, go to yoga, go to yoga. So I was like, okay, I'll try it, but the class wasn't for me. And then when I went to India, everyone was here like, are you doing your yoga teacher training? And I was like, no. And then that's when I first started joining classes, and then I just fell in love with it. And then through the lockdown, I was just going to yoga pretty much every day. And then when I got pregnant, I was just doing yoga, very gentle yoga the whole way through my pregnancy. And then I just fell in love with it completely. And then when I came back to the UK as a single mum, I was like, okay, this is the time I can do my yoga teacher training. I can do it online. I can learn really how to do it myself. Because when I was doing it in India with whoever, I didn't really have any adaptions for me. So I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just trying to like make it up, and I was doing a lot of things wrong that I know now was very bad. So now I just have a great practice anyway, but I can now teach others in my situation. So that's really how I got into it. Yeah.
And how did you fall in love with yoga?
Yeah, I fell in love with yoga. I
But
fell in
why,
love with it
what,
straight.
what made you fall in love with it?
What made me fall in love with it? I just felt great afterwards, like every time I was finishing a class, I just felt alive, and I just felt like I felt like I'd released something, and I felt I was building strength, and it was like a workout that I'd never experienced before. So yeah, it just feels so good, especially like during the pregnancy as well. Like it was just a way to feel good because I had a rough pregnancy. So having that time where my body actually felt good for like half an hour a day was just wonderful. Yeah. And you, so how did you come into how's your yoga journey been?
My Thanks for asking, Miranda. My yoga journey started a little bit earlier than yours, but in 2012, in the Mayan year, and I was in Guatemala, and I
Mhm.
went to my first yoga class. I was invited just randomly by this woman at like a cafe, and she's like, "Oh, go join my yoga class tomorrow." And I was like, "Well, I have nothing else to do. I might as well go now." Like I didn't really. Like, why not? Like I was very keen on it, but I was also open to like doing something different. And then we had this like amazing yoga class on the shore of the lake, and it was just like in the nature. And she was a really good teacher, and it was like very calming and peaceful. And like you, I just felt so good afterwards. Like my mind was calm, like I felt balanced, I felt in peace. As if somebody had hypnotized me. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I want to feel like this again now. So I went again the next day and the day after. And like I said, with like the nature around it, with like the surrounding, and it was so like just so peaceful and beautiful and nice to be there that, yeah, like a feeling that I wanted to feel again and again. And then eventually, like a month later, I went back to Switzerland and just continued practicing. And then in 2013, I went traveling, and I was like, I can't go traveling without my yoga mat or without practicing. Yeah, so I brought my yoga mat with my backpack. Yes, and that's when it all started, really. And it has been part of my life ever since.
Okay. So that leads into like about your yoga teacher training. When did you do your yoga teacher training?
That was in 2017. I finally motivated myself to do the training. I had thought about it for a while, but I never really felt ready until then. And I found a really good teacher that I had also practiced with before. And then I signed up for the training, and it was very, very beautiful, very intense, lots of crying, lots of releasing of emotions. But I felt when I finished that like we had gone into so many different topics and gone so deep as well, and also like practicing every day or like 6 days per week. It was just amazing for what it does with your body, but also with your mind now, like how much it also clears your mind and how much you're releasing. And like you also get to moments where it's really hard because you're like, maybe stuff comes out that you didn't expect or that you didn't want to, but it's good because you have to work through it to be able to release it and to change. It's part of the transformation, isn't it? Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Like to be able to teach yoga, because yoga is more than obviously just doing the asanas, you know, because of that. If you can't be in tune with yourself and your emotions and learn to process that, then you can't really teach others how to do the same thing. So yeah, you have to go through it to obviously be able to teach at the other end. And I think going into it, I was very naive. I thought, oh, it's just yoga. Like I just thought, oh, it's just teach it. And I was so unaware of like the philosophy, the in-depth philosophy around it. So that has been amazing to learn, yeah.
And then also all the different styles of yoga, no? Like we don't really know. Like when I started, I had no idea how many different styles there are for people, and that there is a style of yoga for every person. No, even if you can't move, like you can do yoga nidra or you can do restorative yoga. If you want strength and like more power, you can do power yoga. If you have a limb difference, you can also do yoga. No?
Yeah, yeah, it's true. There's so many different styles, and like each teacher has their own way of teaching as well. So it's like the first class I went to, I didn't really get on with it, but that's because of their style of yoga, and it doesn't mean they were a bad teacher. It just means that we didn't fit. And it's not like, so it's not a personal thing. It's very individual, and you go to a teacher who suits you and go on a journey, you know.
Very important information, and good that you didn't give up, because a lot of people, they go to one yoga class, they don't really like it, and they're like, oh, it's not for me, or I'm not flexible enough, or I'm not good enough, or everybody else is better. And they're all just excuses or lies that we have for ourselves because they're not true. You don't work
Yeah,
for everyone.
it's true, and it's like, yeah, you can't judge it. And I think there's not enough awareness around what yoga is. I mean, you see on Instagram or social media, you see this whole like yoga is all these like advanced asanas and headstands and all of that, and people just assume that's what yoga is, and it's like it's a very, very small percentage of what it actually is. And yeah, you're right, it can be for so many different people, which we'll go into obviously on the next week. But yeah, it's amazing, you know.
He says to me like, oh, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga, or I'm too old. And exactly for those reasons, you should be doing yoga, and you should be giving this like presence to yourself and to your body and to your mind, because it's not only the body that it changes, it also changes our mindset and like the way we
Yeah,
live.
yeah, because our mind, our body, and our soul is all connected. So you know, you can't really have one. We can't help one without the other, and it's very interlinked. So yeah, and the earlier you start, the better it is. Obviously, going forward, you know, easier.
Yes, taking care of ourselves, and not only with the movement, also we will also be talking about nutrition and Ayurveda in this like 4-part series, which for me, and I think also for you, Miranda, it's like very important, because we can move as much as we want, but if we don't eat healthy, our body is still is not going to be in balance,
Yeah.
and we still not find that clarity that we're looking for.
Yeah,
Do you agree?
it's taking care of ourselves as a whole, you know, and it's just such a deep journey and so much information, and it's good that we can share that with others, you know. Just yeah, it's great, great feeling. Um, so yeah,
You have maybe Miranda, tell us a little bit, what are you working on at the moment? Do you have anything planned for the next few months? Like where you want to go? What are your goals?
yeah. So obviously, I just finished. I can't say I've finished my 500 hours yet. I just have to submit my video. But I've finished pretty much all the work for that now. So that was really good. And then now from January, I'm going into the Ayurvedic practitioner and the yoga therapy course. So that's really exciting. I can't wait to just be able to go more in depth with like learning about the anatomy and like how I can help people that have been in my situation with limb differences and stuff, because it's easy to like sit there and teach people and have a nice class. But you know, if people have like are born with a difference, or they're an amputee, or they have other health conditions, and they might not find teachers that can help them and stuff. So I really want to focus it and be able to like niche down my market. But obviously, I want to grow and expand better my knowledge before I start sharing with others. Even though I still teach limb difference, like after this class tonight, after our live, I've got a class with kids in America who have limb differences. It's like a kids yoga class. So even though I do that, I still just want to be able to like just grow and learn more. Yeah, and what have you got coming up?
Yeah, it's very beautiful, Miranda, what you're doing. I love it.
Thank
Um,
you.
my plans are a little bit more focused on nutrition and on Ayurveda. I certified as a nutrition coach this year. Started working with the coaching, with the nutrition, combining yoga and nutrition together. But my main goal is to go more into Ayurveda, so to combine the two disciplines together, because they always used to be together in the earlier years, and then they kind of fell apart. And now I think it's time that we brought them back together again. And yeah, so looking more into nutrition, Ayurveda, maybe also like more like yoga therapy. There was something else I wanted to, breathing as well. I'm also like already bought like an online course for like breathing technique, different breathing techniques. Like I don't want to be, maybe one day, yes, but not at the moment. It's not my goal to become a breathing instructor, but just to
Okay.
have more knowledge about it as well for teaching yoga, because I always like to start with my class with a pranayama where we breathe for about 5 to 10 minutes, because I think it really helps you to get into the present, to connect to your body, to connect to yourself, and to be less distracted, and just to make you like aligned with what you're doing and where you are. So for me, also breathing is something that's very, very important. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing. I agree. Like the point of it all is just to connect with self, and the breath is the most important part of that. And a lot of people they don't even understand any of that. So just being able to teach people that is such a gift, you know. Um,
Definitely, definitely, yes. Yes,
yeah.
and it's
So what I
something,
wanted to, huh?
sorry, it's something so simple that we have now, and like we have it with us all the time, and we kind of completely forget how to breathe properly, and we just like do this like shallow breathing, and we don't even think about it anymore. And it would be really nice if we could like go back to like the proper breathing and just see like how much it can change our lives as well and our mindset.
Yeah,
And
like on that, talking about the breath, like when I was giving birth, the breath was literally the only thing that was like my pain relief, you know. So yeah, it's such an important thing. It's just something so simple. It's life changing, really. It's an amazing thing, and yeah, it's true, and that's something we have to learn to connect with ourselves as well. So yeah, it's a good thing.
there's so many things now that we could do or to learn and to study. Like for me, it's a never-ending story. I'm always like, oh, I want to read this book and do that course, this and that, but it's like only so much time as well.
Yeah, that's true. I'm the same. Like when I signed up to doing a yoga therapy and Ayurvedic practitioner, I was like, oh my gosh, like I already have no time. But I was like, I'm gonna make time, because to me it's like a non-negotiable, you know. And I don't like, it's a choice as well. It's one of those choices where it's like I don't sit and watch TV for hours on end. I rather sit there and read books and study for hours on end. So, you know, we all have our choices, and I just love it. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you, like, did you find any challenges with your yoga teacher training? Did you?
Um, I think I think there was challenges. I think there was a lot of personal challenges, because when I started the training, I was going through a rough patch in my life as well, and I was also I had the flu, like a really bad cough and a really bad flu, and it just wouldn't go away. And I knew it was because I wasn't feeling well personally. So, but I also wanted to be in the yoga teacher training, and I really felt like how it helped me. But there was like some moments where even my teacher said to me, she's like, Nicole, I don't know if you're gonna make it to the end because you're not in a place right now and you're releasing so much. Like, so you really have to like find some time to like work on this and like, you know, sit with yourself and like breathe and like go through it, or like go for a walk and just take care of yourself. But and for me, like giving up was never an option. No, it had never been an option. Like, there's no way I'm gonna give up. Like, this is so beautiful. I want to finish this. I want to teach because I'm also a language teacher, and I have really like felt calling to like, become a yoga teacher. And I had waited so long with like doing the course that I was like, no, there's no way I'm giving up. So yes, yeah.
Yeah, resilience. It's such a good quality to have. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing.
Yeah. If you felt like experienced something different, or how was it for you, Miranda?
Yeah, for me it was the like the confidence of like public speaking, teaching. I remember very early on, like it was one of my first classes, and she was like, "All right, teach." And I was just there like shaking, and I was like, I can't do it. I said, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And then like later on as well, like it was like the yoga day, and I jumped on a new class that I'd never been on before, and I was like really excited. And she's like, "All right, teach," and I was just there shaking. And then but it has been amazing because now I feel confident enough to teach. Like if anyone says do it, I can just get up and do it. But at the time I was just like, oh, there's no way I can do it. Even sending in like my video to be a yoga teacher, I was just like, I'm not confident. I just didn't have the confidence in my, like, very early on. I was just like, I can't, like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. But obviously now with time, I can do a class and feel confident, which is, yeah, it's been a challenge for sure.
Yeah, and it definitely needs some time to like get that confidence and that like knowledge in
Yeah.
like the teaching. Like, and also like for me, what like really made the change when I was like able to walk away from my mat and like not being on my mat all the time and saying, okay, this is my safe space and I don't want to walk around, and like what's gonna happen if I don't do the poses. And as soon as I was able to do that, it like really the teaching changed for me a lot. Mhm.
Yeah, it's true, and it's just being confident within yourself to be able to be like, yeah, go and show others what to do, and yeah, it's a good thing. It's a growth, it's a journey for us as well as it is for everyone else as well, and it's you have to remember that we're all on this journey. So it's like I also loved still joining classes and going to other people's classes as much as I love teaching my own classes.
Also something that's very, very important, Miranda. And I feel not many yoga teachers do that. Like they stop practicing because they start teaching so much. So by the end of the day, the last thing they want to do is do more yoga or practice. So they use their practice, they use it during the classes they teach. Or at least, yeah, what I say. And I think that's not, from my point of view, that's not, and also what our teacher taught us in the yoga teacher training, it should not be that way. No, we should still have our practice, take classes also to get inspiration. No, like maybe somebody does a different pose that we used to do, but we completely forgot that it exists. And then we're like, oh wow, yes, of course, I remember this pose. I want to add it to my classes again, or just that like also for ourselves, no, maybe
Yeah.
have that feeling after the class and feel and say, okay, yes, that's why we're practicing. It's so beautiful. And
It,
you don't, I mean, you get a similar feeling when you teach, but it's different because you give energy, and when you take a class, then you receive energy.
Absolutely. And when you're teaching a class, I teach very much like a lot of my people are beginners. So I focus a lot on like alignment, and I have a very similar each class. Like I try and make them different, but it's all very beginner friendly. So when I'm joining a class, I like to do the more advanced stuff because it's stuff I still need to work on for myself, and and yeah, it's just a good way to be, and it's a good way to not think of other people as well. It's a good way to be within when you're in someone else's class, which is great as well. And even like I've got a friend who's a yoga teacher, and it's just sometimes just nice to go and be like, okay, I don't have to think too much. I can just be, which is a great thing as well.
Definitely, definitely. Or even practicing like privately with other
Mhm.
teachers, adjusting each other. Now we also know how important the adjustment is. Like as much as our students like it, we like it as well. And sometimes I feel because I'm a yoga teacher, when I take a class, nobody wants to adjust me. But then if you do it in like a private session, now you can say, please come and adjust me here. Can you press here? Can you do that? And it's just the feeling is just so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just such a community. Like that's what I found with this yoga as well. It's like it just builds on community and like women empowerment. I've never like before I was always just around like men and male energy, and then since changing everything, it's like all this woman empowerment and all the women, and they all come to the class, and then they like even if they're joining online, and it's all very like they'll have a little chat at the beginning, and it's just growth, you know, and it's like a safe space, a safe environment to be able to grow in your yoga, to be able to grow in your mind, and just have that like yeah beautiful aspect of it as well, which is something I didn't realize would come from the yoga, you know.
Yes, yes, I have no idea as well what I got myself into when I took that first class. And how much my life would change. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's yeah. Well, I don't know where I would be honestly if it hadn't been for yoga. And like yoga brought me then also to like proper better eating, no, more mindful eating, being more mindful with myself, like walking more, drinking less. Like there was a time where I partied a lot, and then all of a sudden when I started practicing, my body was like, "What's this? Like I don't want this anymore. This is not good for me."
I know. I don't know. I hear that. I know. Yeah, you can't do it. Like if I go out now, I don't want to like harm my. I don't want to wake up the next day not feeling good in my body because I want to get up. I want to live. I love my life. I don't want to wake up in the next day feeling like I hate myself for what I've done the night before, which is a big thing as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I don't like that I left like drinking completely. Like it's nice to have a glass of wine with dinner or like a beer after a long day, but it's like it's one and it's usually on the weekend, and it's not that I want like 10 beers, you know, or like a whole bottle of wine. It's like nice in like moderation, and it feels nice in the moment. It feels good the next day. So yeah, it's like
Yeah, I agree.
also
It's good. It's and it's just,
mental.
I was just gonna say it's like and that's part of the balance thing. You know how to balance. You know you can go out and enjoy yourself, but it doesn't have to be to the extreme that it might have once been. You know, and that's all because of yoga. It will help you to find the balance within, which allows you to find the balance out. You know?
Definitely, yes. But also, like, we don't have to restrict ourselves and say, like, no, we don't drink anymore. We only eat healthy food. Like, there is moments where we treat ourselves. And when I do that, I treat myself also to an ice cream, then I really enjoy it and like every bite of it, and I do it consciously.
Yeah, it's good.
But like you said, it's in moderation. It's one, and it's nice to have it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So your question, what was you gonna say? Your question?
No, I think we can talk a little bit about next week, what we will be talking about next week. Miranda, we will talk about.
Next week we're going to be talking about like maybe the hesitations people have towards yoga or the misconceptions, and we're going to be going into all of that next week. So that will be good. It's the classic "I'm not flexible" or "yoga's not for me" conversation, which is something that is actually quite harmful to people. So that'll be interesting. That'll be good.
Yes, some like misconceptions, also like some benefits, even though we all already talked a lot about the benefits today, but mainly about our benefits. Maybe next week we will be more in
Yeah.
general. Yes, in yoga in general. So yes, so every Monday we're live in November,
Yeah.
always at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it's 8 o'clock UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and 9 p.m. European time.
Nice. Yeah. On
Yes.
Facebook, in our group, share, like, comment, subscribe, all of that.
Hopefully next week we will be
Next week we'll be on. Now we know how to do it. All right, cool.
hopefully see you all next week. And it was really nice talking to you, Miranda.
Okay, good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.